Primaris helmet into a Templar Primaris helmet. We're going to need a Primaris helmet, and preferably one that is still on the sprue so that we can handle it without touching the helmet. And you can also mount this up in on a pin and put that in your Dremel. But if you're going to be taking it off the sprue anyway, you may as well just keep it like that. Now we're going to get your green stuff. You won't need very much. Again, 50-50 green stuff. This is very fresh. I just mixed this up. And that's very important because fine detail means very little surface contact. It means you need as much engagement as possible. Okay? I've already done a few of these today. And I would recommend making sure you clean off your mold lines before you do this. If you don't, make sure that your green stuff is completely cured before you start taking off mold lines, so that the dust doesn't touch any of this green stuff. Okay, take a little bead, just like that. All right. Then you're not going to want to use oil so much. You don't really need oil. Just lick your brush or dip it in water. Okay, you use too much oil and the paint won't stick when you go to paint it, unless you remove it with alcohol, and that's just an extra step you don't need. Flip it 90 degrees so he's facing this way. Take the flat of your soft, not hard, don't use hard yet, brush. Start pushing from the nose to the cheek. Okay, and you're going to draw this line until you get to the little scooping line here. See that? It separates that ventilator tube from his actual mask. You're going to draw the green stuff to that line. Okay? Don't go over it if you can help it. Then you're also going to take this right underneath his eye. Take your brush and start blending that in. And how you can tell green stuff is blended is you won't be able to see where the plastic ends and the green stuff starts. That's how you know that you're well blended. Okay? It's going to look like one smooth transition. To check that, you can tilt it in the light, see if there's an edge. If there is, blend that. Okay, if you ever want to blend onto an existing plane, you need to use fresh green stuff. Okay, so now flip it over. Do the same thing to the other side. Just draw it into that line. All right. Now, a couple things that you're going to want to be careful of. You don't want to cover his eye, and you don't want to go over this line too much if you can help it. Also, every once in a while, pop that chin back up. Make sure that it's nice and straight. Okay? If you've ever sharpened a knife or a sword or any kind of blade, you'll know about apexing. Apexing is where you sharpen one side, then the other, then the other, then the other, and you do it evenly on both sides so that the ridge in the middle, or the edge, is nice and straight. The way to really maintain that edge is to make sure that you have proper light so you can see the edge, okay, and have a consistent pattern that you follow. In this case, we're going to flatten and flatten and flatten, okay, and just keep checking it on either side, back and forth, okay. So I'm going to do that here and just let you watch. Now, if you get into the eye, take the corner of your brush and stick it in the eye and then push out into the green stuff. Okay? If you go into the tube, no problem. That's actually not so much of a disadvantage, as you can actually put the edge of your brush into the channel and then follow it around, wrap it around like this. And that will create a little bit of a definition ridge in the green stuff. Okay? So, keep doing that on that side, and we'll do it to this side. And you're going to continue doing this until you have a nice edge built up. Now this side needs some more blending. I'm just going to keep pressing that until it looks nice and blended. Okay, so you can define the line, trace the eye, and trace again this piping. I'll create a nice lip there. You see that? And square up the chin. Make sure everything is nice and evened out. Maybe if this line is getting out of control, just kind of gently put it back in, but that's going to blunt your edge, so make sure that it didn't make it uneven on either side. Okay. Now, if you can't seem to get this line really blended, right here, if you can't seem to get that really blended, one of the things you can try is get a harder brush, okay, and make sure that the flat, you're not like doing this, you're not coming over here, you need to follow the contour of the mask with the flat of this brush. Okay, you can follow that contour, kind of go a little bit high so you don't bump into the pipe here, and just smooth it down. A harder brush will blend that a little bit easier. However, you need to be careful because a harder brush will also leave a sharper imprint in the green stuff, which means that if you mess up, you're going to have to work that out, and that can be kind of a pain. So I'm going to do it again on this side. This is a little difficult because the camera is right above me, so maybe I'll come a bit further down. You may not have this in focus for a second. Stand by. Okay, so see how I bumped into the green stuff right there? Not that big of a deal. I'm just going to follow the contour of the mask, and that just makes a nice contour like that. Make sure everything's blended in, your transitions are good. Okay, now I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to switch over to one that I did earlier so that I can show you putting a little bit more detail into these. Okay, we've got this guy I did earlier, right? And we're going to put some holes in the side so that we got a little bit more light. We're going to put some little dots in the side, make it look a little more detailed. What we're going to use is a very fine pokey needle, okay? And you can use a little bit of oil or some saliva, but you do want to make sure that the green stuff doesn't stick. So whatever your choice is. What we're going to do is 3 dots in a diamond shape. We're going to do a dot here, dot here, dot here, dot here, and I'll show you. Okay? And you want to do this after this is cured for a bit, because again, sharp instruments leave a huge impression on green stuff, and green stuff is most impressionable when it's fresh. So if it's cured for a while, it's not going to be as impressionable, and if you mess up, it's not going to be as hard to remedy. Okay, and just put those little 3 dots in there. Now what that did, as you can see, it screwed up my center line. Not a big deal. First, we're going to make sure this line is straight, and that actually cleans up our dots as well. Then we're going to come to the other side and apex our edge, true it up, back and forth, back and forth. And if you like that the mask dips down like that, you can leave it, you can square it up, do whatever you think would look best.